everyone, to Stadium Journey's Obstructed Views, the new show where a couple of guys in different countries have a couple of beers and discuss a stadium somewhere in the world and their experiences there. I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.
And we're excited to be here with you for our very first episode. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the Stadium Journey YouTube channel, like the video, leave comments, participate, be interactive. We love that kind of stuff. The official Stadium Journey review of today's venue can be found at stadiumjourney.com, or the link can be found in the comments below. So let's get rolling. What are you drinking today, Dave?
I got a Gregorius, which is an Austrian imported beer. It's a Trappist, which is my favorite type of beer. It has to be made in a monastery by monks. So what about you? What do you got?
Well, I'm being a traitor to my Rhode Island roots, and I'm drinking a beer that comes from nearby Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm drinking a Wachusett Blueberry Ale.
Oh, I like blueberry.
This is good. This is a lot of blueberry ales come from this part of the country, and Wachusett's one of the better ones, I will admit. So, more of a summer drink, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. It's what's in the fridge. So
that's right.
So if we were in Detroit, we might be drinking Detroit Dwarf from the Detroit Beer Company, because today we're virtually going to Detroit and we're talking about Little Caesars Arena, home of the Detroit Red Wings. Before we dive in, let's take a look at the stadium vitals. So let's see. Little Caesars Arena, built or opened anyway in the year 2017. It was Mike Ilitch's, the former, the recently deceased owner of the Red Wings, his dream to get a brand new modern place for his Red Wings to play. And he envisioned this arena as being part of what he called the district, the downtown district in Detroit. So he sank $650 million into this new facility. It's got all the brand new bells and whistles and everything that you could want in a modern arena. But I think response has kind of been a little underwhelming. Why is that?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right about Mike Ilitch, and this was kind of the crown jewel for him, wasn't it? You know, he was behind the new Tiger Stadium, Comerica Park. He was integral in not building Ford Field, but definitely negotiating with the Ford family to bring the Lions back downtown. Big push for revitalizing downtown Detroit. I think you're right that it hasn't got the best reviews, partially because of where they were coming from. And Joe Louis Arena, which was on the river, 70s arena, very dark, very grungy almost, but had a ton of character. And the fans in that place made the place like crazy. At least from the 90s on, right? I think in the 80s it was pretty dead when the Red Wings and the Leafs were fighting out who was going to be the worst team in the history of hockey. But Little Caesars Arena it's almost backwards the way they've worked out. A lot of teams will try and coincide moving into a new place with their team being that much better, and with the Red Wings, it's been the complete opposite. So it's this kind of mix between you got this old classic feel with this ultra modern phenomenon that had so many things that we never thought of before. So, Little Caesars Arena uses LED lighting better than any place, right? And if you can compare to a Pistons game, it's all red for the Red Wings, and then suddenly it's all blue for the Pistons.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really something. One of the things that I think is really amazing, it's the dumbest little thing, but I think it's awesome. And I don't know why anybody hadn't thought about this before. So the Red Wings had, at Joe Louis, they had 1 million banners, right? You got hockey royalty, you got Gordie Howe, and you got Ted Lindsay and Terry Sawchuk and Iserman and Lidstrom and a who's who of hockey royalty, plus all the division titles and Stanley Cups and everything. And then they moved in with the Pistons. The Pistons also have a fair share of banners. So what they've done is they've put them, they're like blinds. So you can click a button and all of the Red Wing banners go up and they're gone. Or you can click a button and all of the Pistons banners are gone. I don't know why nobody ever thought of that.
Yeah, it seems like such a simple concept, doesn't it?
Yeah, you go to other places, and I'm sure there's like some dude who has to get up there and drop the banner when certain teams are there. And
yeah, think of what the Clippers do in LA. They hide all the other teams' banners.
Yeah, and I'm sure it costs the money every day that they do a switchover. But yeah, it's a really different place, very very different feel than Joe Louis. And I think what also doesn't help is the price factor. It is, they took a bit of a jump in the upwards division for
Sure
the
did.
cost of going to a Red Wings game. And
I've been there once, and I know we paid $50 to park.
Yeah,
in Detroit.
Yeah. I would suggest if you're going, it's definitely a spot you want to hit, like the Parking Panda or Park Whiz or something like that. Plan out your route because it's close to everything downtown, but it's not that close to everything downtown. The Fisher Freeway cuts off, Little Caesars Arena from basically everything else. The Fox Theater, Hockey Town
Cafe, yeah.
All of that stuff is on the other side. And I mean, it's good that there's a way in, but that way in does not move fast. A lot of the cheaper parking is on the other side of the highway as well, which can be a bit of a challenge to get into.
Right. Yeah. Detroit tried to build a stadium complex like Philadelphia has. But like you said, Interstate 75 bisects it. So you've got Comerica Park and Ford Field on one side and the restaurants and stuff that have gone up with it. And then you've got Route 75. And on the other side is Little Caesars Arena. Now, the bigger plan is to develop all that area around the hockey arena. But as of now, it really hasn't happened. It's been 3 or 4 years now, and it really hasn't taken root as fast as I think they were hoping for.
Yeah, and they've added a lot of stuff. Like, I think they're trying to make it more of a 12-month venue as opposed to maybe a 7 or 8 month venue. So they have some restaurants around the outside that are accessible, during non-game time.
That's how they designed it. Yeah,
a really nice patio. I don't know who's sitting there in the middle of winter, but
in Detroit,
really nice patio.
Place, yeah.
But yeah, cool spot. But it just has I don't think they've grown into it yet. It doesn't feel like home yet.
That was going to be one of my points. Maybe it's still the newness. The shine hasn't come off of it. Like you said, the Joe Louis Arena was gritty. And they did bring all the statues over from Joe Louis, which was fantastic. And there are nods to the old Olympia, even, as you walk around the concourse.
Yeah, and that's where that division is. Like, the concourse has this really old feel to it. Not Joe Louis old, more Olympia old, right? And they do have those 3 statues, Gordie Howe and I think Del Vecchio and Ted Lindsay. Is that
Ted Lindsay, Del Vecchio, and there's one other, I believe.
There's 4?
I thought there were 4. Are there only 3?
Maybe.
I'm going to take your word for it.
But yeah, definitely those were brought over. But yeah, it has that feel, that old Olympia style feel. And then, like, if you're walking around and the ice surface is to your left and you're in the concourse, like, to the right is like one era and to the left is an era we haven't got to yet.
Yeah, the future. They
You know
did
what
that on purpose. The buildings all around the ballpark, the arena, are open year round, and the concourse is open year round. They did that purposely, and they're just kind of covered by a big glass ceiling, glass roof, so that you can walk around and access the buildings and the restaurants and the shops, and they're also accessible during game time.
And definitely the home of the Red Wings, right? Much more so than home of the Pistons. But I will say, if you're walking up, like, you will know that it's a Red Wings game on, because they have a ton of LED lights and signage outside, so they don't have to worry about you walking up and seeing that it's a Pistons game, or that the Pistons play there. You know, all the signs outside are Red Wings, and of such a high quality that, you know, logos everywhere, and they look like pristine. You know, it's funny. It has a little bit of a Soldier Field feel to it, where you got this old outside. Now, so I don't think Soldier Field did it right in Chicago, where the Bears play. You got the old original outside with the pillars that they just couldn't tear down, and then they dropped this like silver spaceship in the middle. And Little Caesars almost feels like that. It has this ultra modern inside and this classic outside. And you know, they've pulled as many names as they could. Kid Rock has a restaurant in there.
Not anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, they went out of business.
Oh, Kid Rock went out of business. That's sad. They had a Kid Rock restaurant. Of course, you know, Little Caesars is your pizza option there. They do have a big, huge, what do they call it? I think they call it like Mike's Pizza Bar or something like that,
Yeah.
which is a really big.
And there's something called Mr. Eyes. Yeah, they really paid tribute to Mike Ilitch.
Detroit back in the day, like, I remember probably the first time I went to Detroit for a Tigers game was like 2002 or something like that. So we're talking like 20 years ago. And, you know, Detroit was scary, but it's changed a whole lot. And, you know, Mike Ilitch's vision has really come through, right? Maybe not to the point where Little Caesars Arena is where he wants it to be, would have wanted it to be, but the number of options, you know, we mentioned the Detroit Beer Company is right there. There's a ton of other spots that you can go and eat around Ford Field, around Comerica. It's a short walk from Little Caesars Arena. It's not far. You've got the theaters there. You've got hockey. If you haven't been to Hockey Town, if you're going, you got to go to Hockey Town. Maybe
Get there early if you're there for a Red Wings game.
Maybe not on game night. What I would suggest is, if you're like me and impatient, you either go like stupid early and then find something else to do after, or like go the next day when there's less going on. But definitely Hockey Town. Hockey Town at one point was the spot to go, right? Like, that was it.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of options there.
Yeah, I remember the last time I visited the area, we stopped at Chelly's Chili, which was right across the street from the ballpark. I don't think it's there anymore. I think someone else is in its place.
Right. I think you're right. I think you're
right. If you're there when the weather's warmer, it's actually only a mile walk downtown, down to the river that separates the United States and Canada, and there's a nice park down there. Probably not going to do that during hockey season, though. Yeah, while the neighborhood might not be, you know, it's no Wrigleyville, but the arena's still new. Maybe they'll get there.
Yeah, I think so. And some better teams will definitely help with that. Like, I think Detroit struggles with the amount of dollars and attendance for the Red Wings and Pistons kind of fluctuates. So if the Pistons are like, the Pistons have not, they've sort of fallen off in attendance since they moved there, and since they you know, won the NBA championship last with, you know, Ben Wallace and Rip Hamilton and those guys. But it's, you know, it'll get there. It's still a hockey town. That I think Detroit is probably the one spot in the United States where you would go, yep, yeah, hockey first. If you were to say Detroit, you would probably say Red Wings before Tigers, before Lions, before Pistons, before anything else.
I don't know. I was just going to say hockey town, my ass, but no, you're absolutely right. The Red Wings come first there, and yeah, how many cities in the country can say that? But you know, your point about it being attendance being slacking with the teams not being well is right on point, and it was that way in the '80s, and it's that way again now. During my trip, you know, the arena is inside the arena. We haven't even talked about going in to see the game yet. It's so red. Everything was bright red. The seats were red. The LED lights were red. You had the banners everywhere. It was a fantastic visual. It was one of those, you know, you don't get that very often where you go, whoa. And when I walked into the seating bowl, I went, whoa. Yeah, it was half full. We went to a weekday game against San Jose, and just it was a nice game. They won in overtime, but
yeah,
and it's huge. It seats like 19, 20,000. It's really a big
19,000,
place.
yeah.
And they've got a gondola seating area, or is it the press box that hangs from the ceiling?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And I
That
have an
seems to be
issue.
common in more and more spots.
Yeah, I have an issue with it because I was up
Jets
near
out.
the back of the upper deck,
Yep.
and so it obstructed my view of the ceiling and the scoreboard and everything.
Yeah.
But they did a nice job of putting alternate screens up, but it's just not the same. That's our look at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more Stadium Journey Obstructed Views.
Cheers.